ding, ding. Live. Let that populate out. And the other one is if you have enough audio recorded, which we do after 7 years, you can. There's two to four companies now that offer transcription in your voice.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to ChatGDP, and we're going to type, "Hey, new podcast about dads. Tell some silly stories. Make Jeff slightly funnier than Trevor." Then we take that result, we plug it into our two voices. It's like, "Hello, my name is Trevor. This is New Dad Gaming."
See, what you're saying is we can be immortalized forever and never die. Like, this is it. We did it.
It's like, how have these guys been doing a podcast for 300 years?
We're playing the long game here, Trevor. That's what it is. Everybody else is just, too quick.
It's a show that our children's will be proud of.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. We are populated across the web. Let's get this recording underway because we are live. The adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old.
God, I almost choked on that because it's been 7 and 5 for what feels like a decade, and and now one moved up, but the other one didn't because there's 2 years between, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's how I always do. Like, for me to find out how old all my siblings are, like, we're all spaced by 2s. Right. So it's however old I am, which I know, and then, like, I guess go up or down.
And then you do the math up or down. You're really good at that. Yeah.
It's
okay.
It's no memorization. It's all math. So
Right.
The same for my sons, and I'm getting until my next son's birthday, I'm entirely tripped up. Now, I did not forget any of that because I have not been drinking because I'm still on my non-alcoholic kick. This is the second week of Summer of Beers. Thank you so much for everyone who has sent some in. We're going to try to find the beers. New dads, if you're listening and you have a particular beer that you like in summer, in winter, in any particular time, send it along. We'll try our best to find it, get it onto the air, give another tip for other gaming dads. So at New Dad Gaming or newdadgaming.com. For myself, we're going to keep it light and breezy. It is a non-alcoholic beer. This one, folks, you're not going to be able to find this one.
Oh, that's simple, eh? You're just not going to find it. It's home brewed.
It's the idea of this beer that I want people to take home.
Okay.
So this brewery, unless you're in Ottawa, if you are in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, I suggest you search these people out. This is a fantastic little brewery called Bicycle Craft Brewery. They have a number of beers that I really do like. I happen to find them at a festival, and lo and behold, they had a non-alcoholic offering. The reason I bring it up is not so much, hey, everybody run out and get it, because you probably can't. It's
Right.
more the thought that if you have a favorite brewer, like a local craft brewery or something else, go and check them out. If you want to maybe start to research into non-alcoholic beers, there's not a zero chance that some of your favorite breweries may actually have an offering like that. Because I'm seeing it more in grocery stores. I'm seeing it more in the beer store. So I think we're of an age now where you're going to start seeing more of this type of beer. So this one on my behalf, delicious. It's a Radler, so it's got some grapefruit in it, lighter tasting. Absolutely delicious. I would never be able to tell that it was non-alcoholic. So was utterly thrilled. Like, the whole reason for me bringing this up is that if you want to get into it and not have Jeff's terrible experience with non-alcoholic beer, consider looking to your favorite craft brewery. In my case, Bicycle Craft Brewery, a delicious Radler for today. Jeff, what were you looking at?
So I didn't go non-alcoholic.
Unbelievable.
I upped the game a little bit.
For 2 weeks, we were going to do this, Jeff. 2 weeks, we were going to hold it down.
And the reason why was because we had a couple of days of good sun here, and I love a delicious cider on those days, just being outdoors. And there's one I always go to, my wife and I love it. It's Summersby Pear Sparkling Cider. And it's light, it tastes like summer, it's got a pear vibe to it, really easy. And I will mow the lawn, have one after a barbecue, have one after. Like, it's so good. It just, I don't know, it's ingrained in me to have the season of summer. And so I'm wishing it every day.
Cider for the summer. Kicks it off right. Excellent choice. Like I said, so as of next week, I'm going to get back into the alcoholic side of things just to explore some more. I'm going to look at some of the other suggestions gaming dads have sent along. Do send it along if you guys have any suggestion you want us to look into. Speaking of those gaming dads, we had 2 stories submitted to this week, or at least one story and then one question for us gaming dads that we wanted to read aloud. First one was almost surprising. It was we had a gaming dad come in defense of Roblox.
That is surprising.
That is surprising.
Just with our take on the show in Roblox, we haven't had the best experiences, so it's good to hear that other side. Right?
Yeah, I will let's put our cards on the table. This is in support of Roblox support.
Okay.
So,
All right. Let's be clear.
So not the game of Roblox,
Right.
but the support team that supports this terrible game.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so Gaming Dad Tim, he writes in defense of Roblox support. My sons both have Roblox accounts. After saving up for a gift card, one son purchased $100 card and redeemed it on his brother's account in error.
Whoa.
So, the son saves up $100, buys a Roblox card, and basically gifts it to his brother's account. Like, just untenable on so many occasions. But we continue. I went through to try and figure out how to transfer, but there aren't any options like it. And in this game, and the best you can do is sell a person something, but with a Roblox tax of 30%. As I was trying to figure it out, these guys came up with the idea for one to purchase and then transfer the items, which is okay, but my understanding was that he didn't want to use all of his funds this way. Lo and behold, they had spent around $30 of the $100. I contacted Roblox and explained the situation, provided the proof of purchase, gift card information, and account info. Roblox was very gracious in transferring these between accounts once I sent them through. I was very impressed, and it was very simple to do so. One last Roblox story. Same sons purchased and damaged Robux cards prior to redeeming. Essentially, we couldn't read the code on either. After proving the same information, proof of purchase, card info, etc., Roblox got us back to the proper pins to be able to redeem. So overall, I've been very impressed with the customer service.
Okay. That's a good
That's nice.
moment for Roblox customer service.
I say, especially from the gaming dad perspective, like the hassle, like every gaming dad listening to this has been through this. It's either the errant purchase, the accidental purchase, the wrong game, the wrong system, and running through receipts, running through refunds, running through transfers. Ridiculous, right?
Right.
So the fact that they're kind of on the ball and supportive, like, is really nice to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've had my run-ins with Roblox specifically about accounts. So, and they were responsive. I will give them that. So it's good to hear that more people are experiencing top-notch support. Again, it's just something to ease the pain.
The lowest tier game has the highest tier support.
What is with
Awful
that?
game.
Yeah.
Amazing support.
I don't get it.
5-star support on a 1-star game. Now, the other Gaming Dad one came to us. Goodness, I do not have it queued up. We're going to have technical difficulties for a second.
If you want to submit a ticket to our customer service desk, please go ahead now.
So, coming from fellow Gaming Dad Jordan LaRose of a podcast fame, I'm going to actually bring it up now before I spit into that. Technical difficulties.
It's when Trevor Googles the show.
Let's see. Dad Gamer and anything. We're by day. I thought it was a podcast. I think perhaps he was liking responding. If Jordan has a podcast and I don't mention, I'm going to feel pretty upset. Royal City. Still looking. Yeah, so Jordan, I think, okay, that's what I thought. So I'm pretty sure he's on Royal City Gamescast.
Yep.
All right, so let's get everything queued up. So Jordan, fellow gaming dad Jordan LaRose of the Royal City Gamescast, which everybody should check out, writes in, what are your thoughts on the new ROG Ally handheld? Now, I don't know if you're supposed to say ROG or ROG. I've always gone ROG.
ROG, I do ROG. So, 50-50 shot.
50 on that hardtail or ROG? Like,
I don't know. I'll leave it up to the audience to decide and let us know.
But he asked about this handheld, and it looks like gorgeous tech. Like I really adore the look of it. Like I'm a bit
Oh, this is a
consoled
sucker
out.
for that. You're a
I
sucker
know.
for the design of these systems. Like,
Every time. Look at it though. So it is compact. It is slightly bigger than a Switch. It's got all of the vibes of a Steam Deck. I'm curious if like it. There's no way that they developed it at the same like after the Steam Deck came out. They must have all.
no.
It has so much
Yeah.
polish to it. They must have almost been preparing for it.
Yeah.
So it's just another take on the Steam Deck, and what you love to see is competition for it. Even
Absolutely.
and further too, obviously the Steam Deck I think can play Game Pass, but it's not necessarily tier one. Whereas this one is definitely like a tier one partner of Xbox Game Pass
Yeah.
because it was part of like the whole launch and everything else like that. So that for me like speaks like huge to like the potential of what this could be.
This could be an all-in-one machine that you just carry around. Again, portable gaming. I'm all about it. Like, I think Gaming Dad should all give it a try. Portable gaming anywhere.
Yeah.
It makes life so much easier.
Like when we were going through like when we had our kids and me a bit more than yourself, so it was either like Game Boys. When I was coming up though, I had like at least like the phone. There's some decent mobile phone games at the time, like Hearthstone was my like classic go-to. But this level of gaming wasn't quite available. Like I'd love to think about the next generation of new dads at game having access to a device like this
Yeah.
that are going to be able to spend those kind of like some of those worst nights like just rocking the baby, not being able to leave the room and just getting in a bit of gaming like while they're sleeping, everything else like this type of support for them to sneak in those precious gaming moments during a little bit of downtime. It's going to be such a great support win for them.
Dude, I was in the PS3 era, and I remember I couldn't play Demon Souls because I had no pause menu. And then my mobile game was like Angry Birds. So like if I had something like this where I could play like high performance gaming while my kid, was being rocked to sleep or something, that's amazing. That's the goal. It's perfect.
Yeah, so Jordan actually comments as we're talking about this, like looking forward to getting mine. So, so it looks like we've already had a winner. So I'm gonna be asking Jordan here to send in a review so we can see a firsthand review of how a gaming dad thinks about it.
I will just remind you that I bought the Steam Deck, so this is yours,
Yeah, okay.
right?
This is my purchase, sure.
This is yours.
Where is the latest on Steam Deck? How often are you using it?
All the time.
Every
It is
time.
my go-to machine.
Oh, okay.
Actually, well, not with Zelda now, but it's my go-to one. If it's on Steam, I will purchase it there now, and I never used to do that.
Wow.
So,
Wow, it's like Steam playing the long game. They got
Yeah,
you back. They brought you back in.
They did, and I have a library of games there that was untouched for 10, 15 years. So, yeah, man. I don't know. I'm all about it. I will hype it up as much as possible. I want more competition in the space too, because I think,
Absolutely.
again, it's going to push it.
Yeah, and I'd love to see that as soon as the price gets into like the 300 or 400, so it's a bit more transient. Like it's just you can purchase it. Man, that's asking too much, man. Phones cost 1,000. This thing should probably cost 1,000. Keep specs up.
Yeah, I think so. And then PlayStation's coming out with their one like
That's
this.
That one looks very
So-
interesting. We got to talk about that next episode actually, because that one looks fascinating. I'm curious if you would touch it, given your
Stop
current.
it! Stop trying to sell me things. This show isn't about trying to get buy us games or hardware, but it always ends up to be like, hey, might as well. When we're done the show, we run out and pre-order everything.
Yeah.
So.
Well, speaking of pre-orders,
Jeez.
you have been tempted once again by a game that you had middling hopes for. It looked kind of cool, but it seems like a demo has almost spoken to you in a very real way as far as a first day purchase.
Yeah, this was Final Fantasy 16. So again, the 16th entry, I was sketchy on it because I'm like, the combat looks very action oriented. I'm not sure, blah, blah, blah. And then we've always said demos, right? Bring back demos. Demos will sell us on the game. Or, hard-earned money, hard-earned time. Our time is valuable. Maybe I can't jump into that game if I had a demo to prove it.
I'll tell you the demo for Diablo 4 was part
See?
of. There's two factors for me. Like one is the peer pressure because my very few gaming buddies had it, but also just playing the demo. It's like this is very good. Like I could spend time in it, and it sounds like it was somewhat similar with you in Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, this was a 2-hour demo of the first chapters, and it gives you a battle mode after. And honest to God, 2 hours went by in a blink of an eye. I did not put it down. I was engrossed. It was like, I want to know where this story's going. I'm set. Like this is great, and this is a darker Final Fantasy, so it's got a lot more of a like mature theme around it. So I'm sold, man. Like this is one that I didn't think would be on the purchase list, but here we are. Thanks, Square, like for putting out your demos. But
That's kind of a fascinating contrast. There was I don't know if you saw any of the demo for Final Fantasy IX. There was a fan made remake of it, like Project Memoria,
Yeah, yeah, I saw that one.
it's basically just Unreal 5, like Final Fantasy 9 and done in Unreal 5. And you could not have a sharper contrast between two games. Because that one is like high fantasy,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
borderline silly, but like colorful and bright and happy,
Right.
despite some really dark tones on the story. But then you're looking at this one, and you could have told me this is the next Witcher or gaming or Dad of War, God of War, because of the dark tones, murky forests, and everything else, right?
You hit the nail on the head there because I was going to say this is like my Witcher in the Final Fantasy world
Okay.
because it is very much like that. And again, the combat is very similar. And it's got magic thrown in there and chocobos. I am set, man. This is a great. I never would have thought. I honestly never thought. But again, I will praise demos for as long as you live. It's just something to give us gaming dads a test on, what we can handle, what can be around the kids. This is not one to be around the kids with.
No.
And like what is the feeling of it before you dump 100 Canadian dollars on it? So again, this is one that I want to support. I hope to see it. I just have to lay down that purchase button at the end of the demo where it's just like, thanks for playing. Do you want to buy it?
Even nicer too is like, and again, this hopefully becomes a trend because this helps gaming dads and it's just gamers in general. Apparently, your save data
Yes.
from the demo, if you do purchase, if I say, haha,
Yeah.
it continues on into the actual game itself. So it's even like the demo has so many great purposes now. You get to touch it, see if like this is the game you like. You get a sense of the world and everything else like that. And then you're also queued up. You're kind of past the tutorial mission. So on launch day,
Yeah.
like boom, you're in the world.
Stop selling me on this game. You're like, hey, why don't I give you more pros to consider? And then you can go out and pre-order. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, I get you. I get it.
So hey, gaming dads, if you have any reviews of Final Fantasy 16 or even for the Asus ROG Ally, if you're going to go ahead and pick that up, give us a note. Love to hear from you at New Dad Gaming on Twitter or newdadgaming.com. Continuing on, speaking of games that take up way too much time, thankfully it's not mine. We are talking about Pokemon Sword. So this is my son's first Pokemon game.
Wow.
yeah,
This is it, eh? Yeah.
That's
okay.
right. So he never actually dipped into a game. It was only the cards at first, and then, thank you, YouTubers. He, he started to see this one and got like incredibly into it. And the best part is like, you know what the YouTube video was? It was a goofy YouTuber who took a Magikarp and took that all the way. So the whole challenge this guy put up against himself was to take a Magikarp and beat the game with it.
Right. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so he had this flopping fish that he took up to level 100 and he one-shots the final boss.
That's amazing. That's such a sight to see, I think.
Look, YouTube gives us some real garbage sometimes, but that was like, bravo, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so son got super into it, and this was his one birthday request. This is the game that he got. The thing I want to specifically mention is the grind. His tenacity to grind was such an amazing shot to see. Like, because it just harkened back to my old gaming days where it's like, well, gonna have to level all these guys up a whole lot. Grind, and just sit there going. And it's fairly, between, he was going into events, and this is sort of like a modern gaming twist that we never had, but there would be these world events. You could just, like, there's glowing orbs, like red shoots that go into the sky. You can go into it, then it's like you and other trainers
Yeah.
are all gathering together to try to beat this one guy. My son absolutely adored these games. The rewards are great. He goes in, changes it into rare candy, whatever else like that. Next thing you know, like he's just leveling these people up no matter what. But it's just that, like, to see him, that his first foray into the grind, into like that, like perpetual, constant, just battle, gotta level these guys up, gotta get going. Like, can you recall like the first time you saw your son or your kids, either your kids just kind of like grinding away like as you used to, or perhaps they don't, like maybe they're just more quick gamers.
No, grinding. Pokemon's a great one to call in. but it's those cookie clickers where they they grind away at
Oh,
those
right.
things, which is the worst kind of grinding, but they are totally into it. They will do it all day. Like this is something that they're just focused in on. But Pokemon's a good one where they do grind out their stats and their characters, and by the end of the game, like it's nothing to them. Like they're like, yeah, my whole team is stacked. What is it like? This isn't like the final trainer or whatever. And then they, yeah, like much like the Magikarp guy, just like one shot and it's fine.
That's like that is the best feeling though, man. I love that feeling. I remember
Yeah.
my best was Final Fantasy X, and yeah, I just won with Waka. I just one shotted every single
Did you?
boss, every single one. Like because it was just satisfying from my perspective to have gone through it, to have grinded, have like to found all the secrets and built him up.
Yeah.
But the best part is always like the thematic like dissonance that happens where the boss is like, and finally our paths shall meet, destiny shall be wrought in the irons of our battle. Psh, ball in the face and he dies.
Yeah. Or like
And they
a
get
magical spell that would like obliterate the planet and it's just like one damage to you because you have all the accessories and like doubled up all your experience, so it doesn't matter. Like
and then he get that's where then he get his second form. He's like, oh, I was just kidding, and then he just do it in one shot him again, and it was all for nothing. Like it's just so that I love the dissonance between that one, but this game absolutely grabbed him, and it's just been that to see him like play, and grind. And now this will be a harken to gaming dads to again kind of be aware of different mechanisms within a game that exists. In particular, what happened is to the Pokemon Gengar,
right.
which ghost type. You probably recognize him. He's a big purple dude, huge tongue sticking out, shadow ghosty looking fella. To get to him, you have to take a Haunter, which is his level 2. Gengar's level 3, and then you can't just level him up. You can't give him something. You have to trade him, or basically you have to receive him from a trade. When you receive him, then he will level up. So in order to do, you have to interact with other people to do it. So my son had been desperately grinding his Haunter, trying to get it to evolve, but of course it never would. Then he, searched on YouTube, was able to find like how to do it. And then it goes out, like finds another character, like another player, gives him his Haunter, and the guy just leaves and runs away. He never saw.
That
his
is a
Haunter.
tough life lesson right there.
I was like, oh man, we should have talked about this before and how to, because there'd be no way to do it. None of my friends played. Like, why? So it had to almost be you. Like, I'd have to get you
You
to.
could probably get, yeah, I could probably get my 10-year-old to load it up and
Yeah, I'm
meet
gonna
you
have-
in game somewhere around a tree in the middle of a.
I'm probably have to, I'm gonna ask for a gaming dad assist. Make me the
Yeah.
hero, Jeff.
Yeah, no, totally. I'll go ask them to see what do they have to trade. They just have to trade a Gengar out.
So I think basically what we can do is like I'll get my son to prep up a Haunter. He'll give you the
Okay.
Haunter, then you think you just have to give the Haunter back, and at that point he's out.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, perfect. We'll set that up.
So this is why we need the gaming dad community. You see, this is
Yeah.
why you follow us on Twitter. This is why we have the website, so we can kind of do these gaming dad assists to make everyone the hero.
Yeah.
But-
No, totally. Yeah, you will be the hero. You'd be like, look, I figured it out. I emailed Nintendo, and this is them online. Just completely.
Oh, I love it. So that is just the worst. But either way, so just seeing him grind, like see his kid's first grind, you never really forget the first one.
Yeah.
And see him kind of put in that effort and playing the game. It was just a sight to behold, and it's still holding his attention quite some time. So I was quite happy with what the product they put together.
Nice. Nice.
So
That's good.
get out there. Now you had a similar Pokemon story of which you only queued up to say Pokemon Randomizer. I know nothing
Yeah.
else of this.
No, so my 12-year-old just comes down on his laptop. He's like, Dad, I want to show you something. I'm like, oh, God. Like, at 12,
It's the first problem.
at 12 years old, you're like, oh, no, there's like, what's going on, right? Because things get complex. I'm like, what is it, right? I'm thinking like, it's bad. But no, his friend sent him a link and a file. I'm like, okay, you
Okay.
got to be careful what you receive from your friends, even if they are
Yeah.
your friends, right? Digital literacy. Let's go through this again. Anyway, it is the Pokemon Fire Red randomizer game. And I
Okay.
don't know if you've heard about this, but it's
No.
like a lot of times they play it on Twitch. It's just
Of course.
yeah. modified game of the old Game Boy game. Actually, Game Boy Color game, I guess. And it randomizes the trainers and the Pokemon you see in game. So the challenge could be like super crazy difficult at the start, depending on what random Pokemon you get. You could have a whatever attacking you. You could have a Gengar right out of the gate. Or you get like a Caterpie. But anyway, it's just something that ups the difficulty or doesn't. But it's that with my 12-year-old receiving a game like this, there's two things. One, cool, Pokemon randomizer game. That's neat. Like, that sounds fun and stressful, but you're young and can handle it. That's great. Two, who is sending you ROMs?
Yeah. We're gonna. You understand that we own all of these physical copies, right?
Yeah,
Just like-
exactly.
That's always a line. We got to say that every time.
Yeah, and I had to kind of like dip in and research about where this one was, and apparently you can play it online. I don't know how you can without Nintendo yanking that website, but it's very much online. A lot of people play it on Twitch, and maybe it's being ignored by the powers that be. I don't know. Anyway, we had a whole conversation about how ROMs work and what you should not do, and you know the legality of things, and you have to own the game, cartridge, whatever, right? So we went through all that talk, and then I watched him play it, and man, I can never play this game right now. It is too stressful. There's no way. Like, get your son into this, because this thing is crazy.
That's madness. So you're telling me every single battle,
Yep.
every single one, like, so you go into the first bush, like you just pick up your first card from Professor Ash, and you go to the first bush and you face a Charizard
Could be.
immediately.
Don't know.
That's madness.
It's the regions that are randomized, so I don't know if it's necessarily like all the battles within like the screen, but like, yeah, you could just walk out and all of a sudden you're battling something that you have no idea that you could ever beat with your team. But then like your trainer is randomized and everything else. So again, very stressful from what I saw, and I don't think again I could do it. But 12-year-old was having a blast. He was on Discord with his friends having a blast. And I'm like, okay, that's where that audience is, right? People are like, oh my
Yeah.
God, what'd you do in your story? And like the game, again, has so many threads to it. So everyone's talking about, oh, I just encountered this. Oh, I just encountered this. And I only had these Pokemon available. So it's a blast for them to see and do. So it was fun to
is funny.
witness. But man, I would not recommend it to any gaming dads. There's no chance.
At least I'm glad it started with, hey, come here, I got to show you something. Because
Yeah.
it's like, I'm very glad you showed me this, because it opens up a whole plethora of conversations we need to have about
Yeah.
online etiquette.
It's never too early to have that talk with your kids about online ROMs.
You wouldn't download a car, would you download a ROM?
Exactly.
Oh, now, a game that soon will be in ROM form, or at very least on some shareware, might be your son's own game. So
Yeah.
listeners to the show might remember that Jeff's kid has produced a game, and like was incredibly excited to show it, and it seemed a lot more in depth. So as I understand it, you were able to play your kid's game, right?
Yeah, so officially a quality assurance playtester, I guess. Like,
Are you getting paid? Is it like-
I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting paid. Maybe I get paid in ROMs or shares of the company. But this is something that, as previously mentioned, it was just something that my 12-year-old came up with through Google Slides, a whole bunch of random number generators online, and stitched together this game, this RPG kind of Dungeons and Dragons kind of esque game that he could play with his friends and his sibling. And so I got to play it, and honestly, the whole thing starts very much like a video game. It's very video gamey. You choose your character. 12-year-old has done up a whole item shop. So there's an item shop with your weapons, accessories, armor, and then you get like a special ability, and you have to choose through. And he'll warn me like, okay, be careful. Some of these are like forever. Right? I'm like, what are you doing? You're trying to stress me out already? Like, I can't,
Wow.
like, respect my character? No. You're locked in.
Not in this Demon Souls. Like,
That's right. That's right. He's been watching too much of me, of what I play. But anyway, picked my character, went through the whole thing, and then we're ready to start the game. He's got a world map, so he's generated a world map
That's
where
so
he has
cool.
different areas.
Right?
Now the areas are questionable, just to a 12-year-old and 12-year-old humor. An example, like you'll have the forest, you'll have a village, which is like a rest area, Shadow Realm. I get it, but then you have things like Jesus Land and Bad World.
Bad world.
And then one is just called Hell. So there's different worlds that you can go into. But anyway, to kind of briefly go over it, he had a storyline to go with it. He introduced what's happening, how your character fits into it. And then if I was playing with my 10-year-old, which I wasn't at the time, or his other friends, they would all have a part in this story. And you go through each world, and he would have a almost like a short paragraph to tell you about that area.
That's so cool.
And then you'd have to fight something or deal with something, and it'd be a random number generator that he would show on screen, and it would be a spin wheel, and that would be playing out the battle or playing out the encounter.
Oh my god, that is so clever. That's so
It's neat.
fantastic.
It's neat. I didn't complete it
Because you couldn't.
because I couldn't, and it was very, very detailed. Again, my 12-year-old is very detail oriented, so like it was a good half an hour of getting through the first kind of loop of this game. But it was good. Like I was surprised, and I'm like, when he was playing the randomizer of the Pokemon Fire Red, I'm like, you could build your game in that style with very easily. You just have to stitch together some, artwork that you've already done here into that kind of format, and you're off. Like, there you go. So that's how you start this. This is good. Get your friends involved. Everyone does a piece. Like, let's get going. I love it. I love it.
Start a company, son.
Yeah.
And you're gonna need hardware. So what?
That's right.
I'm gonna need you to buy an Asus ROG.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to buy some more Steam Decks.
Exactly.
An Xbox Series S, the PSVR 2. Listen, like you're a game company now, son. Let's go.
Might as well,
Expenditure.
right? We're gonna write off some things to the company,
Right off.
right? We're gonna
Company vehicle.
give out some free games on Dad's podcast. That's very well, attended and watched. So like, absolutely, we're ready to go.
Child, I have some other gaming dads that just need a leg up. We gotta give them some prizes, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's stunning, man. That's just so fantastic that your kid would take the time and the effort to put that all together. Was it like joy and pride? Was it like surprise? Like what was some of the stuff that was going through your head as you're playing a game your child had made?
It was a lot of surprise and proud of him, right? Like it was something like, okay, you've actually taken like all the stuff that we've done together and stitch it to something that you and your friends enjoy and that you yourself built, right? Like none of this is really like taken from anything like lifted. It's all in your mind and on paper, well, digital paper, and it was great to see. I was so impressed, and I hope it like expands and goes from here
Yeah.
and just gets bigger.
That's fantastic, man. That's like congrats. That is like so stunning. That is so exciting to hear.
Yeah. That's
And
good.
coming to a ROM site near you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, everybody, that'll wrap it up here for the week. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, this has been New Dad Gaming. Do you have a story? Do you have a good support of Roblox, or do you want a product you want to review, much like the Asus ROG? Thanks once again to Jordan for the shout out there. Do you have a beer selection? We're right in the middle now of summer beers, one of our favorite activities. If you're favorite times of year. If you have any beers you want us to try to find, we'll do our darndest to find it. Send it to us. Are you trying out some demos? Anything else like that? We absolutely adore chatting with everybody, getting the back and forth, the stories, the comments, everything else. One of the greatest parts of this podcast for sure. Reach out to us at New Dad Gaming or newdadgaming.com. Did you like the podcast? What would really help out the show is if you go to one of the networks and you subscribe, and also if you leave a comment. It really helps boost the signal, gets us out there to all the other gaming dads. You can find us on all the major podcasting networks: Apple, Spotify, Caster, Google Podcasts, anywhere we get your podcast. Just search once again for New Dad Gaming. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. My name is Trevor. Well, I should say until next week.
Yeah.
Till next week, my name is Trevor, and I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Just remember, just because you became a dad.
Does not mean it's game over.
All right. See you next week.
See you later.